Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Steven, and welcome to part 2 of our WWE Clash of Champions 2019 predictions. In the previous video on this channel, Clay did his predictions, talking about what he thinks is going to happen at the pay-per-view, and now I'm going to do mine as well. There are 11 matches in total. Apparently, there was supposed to be a King of the Ring a King of the Ring finals match that was going to take place originally at Clash of Champions. I guess WWE moved it to Monday night on Raw as of this recording. So I'm not going to include that in mine. That one was included in Clay's video, but I'm going to think Baron Corbin wins. I'm just going to say that, I guess. I think Corbin will win, but it's on Monday night, so it's not even on the pay-per-view. But so as of right now, I guess there are 11 matches in total. So I'm going to get started with Roman Reigns versus Eric Rowan. This is a no disqualification match for the No One Cares Championship. Because, I don't care about this match. I don't know if you guys care about this match, but it's just to build up this whole thing with that Daniel Bryan might have actually been behind all these attacks on Roman Reigns. And right now everyone thinks it's Eric Rowan, and they had Rowan attacked Daniel Bryan and everything else. But I think Eric Rowan is actually going to win this match because of interference from Daniel Bryan, and that will lead to probably a match at Hell in a Cell between Roman and Daniel Bryan. Maybe inside the cell even. I don't know. That might still be a pretty good match, but I think that's how it's going to play out, is Daniel's going to help Eric Rowan win because it's no disqualifications. And then they'll build to that match. Now the next match that I'm going to talk about is AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander for the United States Championship. This match was put together just this past Monday night on Raw. I'm saying that Cedric Alexander is going to win, but it's going to be by count out or disqualification. I think that probably the OC are going to interfere, or just Styles is going to do something to get out of it with his championship still intact. I don't think Cedric is going to win the title yet. I think they're going to continue this story first through some shenanigans that AJ Styles does, or his Gallows and Anderson do. And then that'll lead into another match where Cedric can actually win, just like the whole thing with Ricochet that they did earlier. So I think Cedric's going to win by disqualification or countout or some kind of interference, and they'll have another match down the line for the United States Championship again. The next match is Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I'm calling them Twisted Bliss. I don't know why WWE hasn't given them that tag team name yet. They're the women's tag team champions. And it makes sense because Nikki Cross is Twisted and she's Alexa Bliss. Whatever. Their shirts say Twisted Bliss and everything, but they're not ever referred to as Twisted Bliss. But Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defending the women's tag team championships against Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, also known as Fire and Desire. I'm saying Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are going to retain. I don't know why. I had a hard time coming up with a lot of these who I think is going to win and where the story might be going. I think maybe these two teams might have another match after this, or something's going to happen where just somehow I feel like Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross aren't done being the women's tag team champions yet. I feel like there's still more they're trying to do with this. I don't know what exactly they're going to try and do with this. I don't know what the story is meant to become after this, but I don't think Mandy Rose and Sonya are going to win just yet. I think there's going to be something else that goes on beforehand that leads into them getting another opportunity or something like that. So Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are going to retain the women's tag team championships. Next up, I don't really keep track of 205 Live too much. I do enjoy the Cruiserweight title matches when they're on pay-per-view and everything. It has that, like NXT kind of feel to it, which is, they're both run by Triple H, so I guess that makes sense. But this match is Drew Gulak versus, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Humberto Carrillo versus Lince Dorado for the Cruiserweight Championship. And Gulak is the champion. I think he's going to retain because I think he just won the thing, or maybe he won it a couple months ago or something. I don't know, but I don't feel like Lince Dorado or Humberto Carrillo are really fit to win the title yet. I mean, I don't watch 205 Live, so maybe they are. Maybe Lince wins or Humberto wins, but I don't really know anything about. Like, I don't watch it that much, so I didn't really know how to make this prediction, so I just went with Drew Gulak to retain the championship. Moving on to the next match is Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. They've been building up this whole thing where Sami Zayn is now Shinsuke Nakamura's sort of like manager, or like his voice box kind of thing, where he's doing the talking, kind of like Paul Heyman is to Brock Lesnar. Sami Zayn is now that to Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think Shinsuke is going to retain the Intercontinental Championship against The Miz, mostly because I think Shinsuke just won it recently. But he hasn't really had any title defenses until just now, where he's defending against The Miz. This is his first title defense, and I think Sami Zayn is going to interfere and help Shinsuke retain, because that seems to be the story they're building. I don't know if that'll lead to another match for The Miz against Shinsuke, or they'll just move past that and go to the next person that challenges Shinsuke for the title. I feel like they're going to have him be the champion for a while because of this whole partnership with Sami Zayn, until eventually maybe Sami will turn on Shinsuke and we'll have them fight each other or something along those lines. I don't know the future of their story that they're trying to tell, but as of right now, I think Shinsuke is going to remain the Intercontinental Champion in his match with The Miz on Sunday. Next up, New Day versus The Revival for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Now, there's several ways that this could go that bleeds into another match we're going to talk about later, but I really had a hard time with this one, depending on how the story goes, because I like to think ahead, just like WWE has to plan ahead. I like to think ahead of what they might end up doing with some of these rivalries going forward. So I'm actually going to say the Revival is going to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. One thing, because I feel like WWE probably wants the Revival on SmackDown for their move to Fox, for the Fox Sports Network. I don't know, I feel like they're one of those actually pretty good tag teams when you let them wrestle that Fox might want on their side of the WWE, with SmackDown moving to Friday nights and everything like that. But also, storyline reason is because the Revival are currently in a faction, I guess, with Randy Orton. So I feel like if they win the SmackDown Tag Team titles, that might lead into Orton winning the WWE Championship, which I do say in this next one, Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton, for the WWE Championship, I have actually Orton winning this, because I'm trying to think, I think a Hell in a Cell match between Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston might just be a really good match. It might knock it out of the park, and it would give them a good reason to have one more match, because Orton wins the title, maybe through the Revival interfering or something along those lines, and then Kofi wins it back inside the cell or something like that. And then you could even have the Brock Lesnar thing happen. Brock comes back, attacks Kofi, and goes to SmackDown, something like that. But anyways, right now I'm saying the Revival are going to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and then Randy Orton will win the WWE Championship off of Kofi Kingston. Then you can continue that New Day versus the Revival and Randy Orton. Revival KO, whatever you want to call them. Next up is the Raw Tag Team Championships are on the line. This is a really random match. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, who are the current champions, defending against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. I heard someone call them one time Rudolph the Rando Tag Team or something like that. I thought that was pretty funny. That's a good tag team name. I'm sure everybody's calling them Rudolph except WWE, but I'm going to call them Rudolph as we talk about this match. Seth Rollins, and I'm saying that they're actually going to be some teams added to this match to make it a fatal 4-way. I think the Viking Raiders and the OC are also going to be added because of what happened in that tag team turmoil thing a few weeks ago, where they both kind of got double disqualified and got taken out of the thing. I feel like maybe something will happen on the kickoff show or something like that, where they'll end up adding the Viking Raiders and the OC to the match, and the OC will actually win the titles back, is what I'm going with. Because I don't think Seth and Braun are going to keep the tag team titles past this point, and I really don't want to see Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode right now win the Raw tag team titles. Maybe down the line, but right now, so I feel like that's what they're going to do. They're going to add the Viking Raiders. I call them the War Viking Raiders experience because they've had so many name changes. And the OC will also be added to the match, and I think the OC are going to win back the Raw tag team titles, and then you can build off of that. The next one, the SmackDown Women's Championship is on the line. Bayley defends against Charlotte Flair. This was another one I had a hard time coming up with because it's one of the 4 horsewomen thing. Bayley is now a heel. She turned on she attacked Becky Lynch a few weeks ago on Raw. She's like friends with Sasha Banks, who's a heel now after her return. I think Bayley is going to retain here because I think they're going to do something at Hell in a Cell where things happen with the titles changing hands or something along those lines. But right now I think Bayley is going to retain because maybe Sasha interferes to help her, or maybe just Bayley gets a clean win over Charlotte. I'm not sure. I'm sure it'll probably be a good match, maybe. And that also leads into the next one, Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship, where I think Becky Lynch is going to retain because, like I said, I don't think Sasha just came back. I don't think she's going to win the championship just yet. But maybe at Hell in a Cell, you have Bayley as SmackDown Women's Champion. Sasha wins the Raw Women's Championship inside Hell in a Cell even. And then you have Bayley and Sasha as the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion, which would lead into Survivor Series, where they would actually have to face each other one-on-one. Or, I mean, I guess it would be, you could have Becky lose the title, or Becky keeps the title and Charlotte wins it. All the different combinations if they do Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series. Either way, it's going to be one of these 4 versus the other one in that match at Survivor Series. But that's looking too far ahead. But so yeah, Bayley retains the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship. I'm not sure, like, with the other 2 interfere, like, maybe Sasha interferes and costs Charlotte, so then Charlotte costs Sasha her match with Becky, and things like that, and it just breaks down. I think this is also leading to the 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen thing they were planning, but Sasha, Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte are going to be the heels, while Ronda Rousey and her group will actually be the good guys. Maybe. I don't know if they'd go that route or not. And then finally, Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. So what they're building to is that Seth and Braun actually won the Raw Tag Team titles together, but now they're also fighting each other for the Universal Championship. And we also have, of course, the Fiend Bray Wyatt looking to get a title shot at Hell in a Cell against the winner of this match. So I think the winner of this match, as much as I want to see it, the Fiend versus Braun Strowman. I don't think we've ever seen Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman before. I really want to see that match, especially inside Hell in a Cell. That would be, like, really amazing, probably. And just to see Braun Strowman kind of terrified for his life would be interesting. But I think Seth Rollins retains here, because he just won the title back at SummerSlam, which was a month ago, I think. But then after the match, I think the Fiend is going to attack Rollins and maybe even attack Braun Strowman as well, which leads up a lot of questions also, because do you have the Fiend win inside Hell in a Cell? Do you have him lose at Hell in a Cell because he's basically needs to be undefeated right now? But I think Seth Rollins retains the Universal Championship, gets either a clean victory over Braun or a count out or something like that, and then Bray Wyatt will attack Seth and or Braun following the match, or he'll lead somehow into Seth win. Like Bray will attack Braun and Seth will win. Either way, I think Seth Rollins is keeping the Universal Championship here. And then as like a bonus thing, you know, there's going to be something going on with the 24/7 Championship, I'm sure. You know, we can't really, like Clay said this in his video, we can't really predict what's going to happen with that because so much happens. I feel like throughout the night, R-Truth's going to lose it, and by the end of the night, he'll win it back. But, yeah, so I think, at least right now, R-Truth is the champion, so we'll see by the end of the show. But, there you go, guys. There's my predictions for Clash of Champions 2019. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, what your predictions are, what you think is going to happen at the pay-per-view. If you think any of these same things as me, or if you think differently, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments as well. And stay tuned on this channel for more videos like this. We'll probably be doing more wrestling reactions and things like that, and also just movies, video games, whatever we decide to put up. So take care, everyone, and enjoy the weekend.